No, sorry.
Who was that?
It's the wrong number. Where have you been, Mulder? I've been trying to get a hold of you.
I was trying to reach you. I went by your house, but you weren't there. I got here as quickly as I could.
Why didn't you call when you got my message?
I did call. I couldn't get through.
Put your hands against the wall.
Scully, what are you doing?
I said put your hands against the wall!
What's wrong?
Do it!
Scully, it's me.
I don't know who you are.
Okay, I'm gonna take my left hand and reach into my pocket and get my ID, okay? Just don't shoot me. I got shot once and I didn't much care.
I said keep your hands up.
Where is he? That was him on the phone, wasn't it? Tell me where he is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Were they simply? Are we in the
Is there anything?
I really get back to business that I really skill tree because perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating.
Imagine fumbling off and dying.
You want to know so
What you would have
badly what's
heard
out
was
there?
me
You
throwing
wanna
my
find
headset
out
and
what
going to the
lies at the end of
bathroom.
this road you've chosen? Well, don't let
Because
me
that's what
stop
you would have heard if that happened.
You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms.
I don't get to go to
exposed
the bathroom
developer
just yet.
textures. Is this
But
what
that's
you
okay.
wanted? Was it
I don't have
worth
to pee that
ruining
badly.
the
I can
entire
hold it.
story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
Sorry for that weird noise. I was pulling my
Take a stab in the dark
water
at a new
out of
design, and you can give me some feedback.
a coaster.
There we go.
I'm gonna go. I can barely keep my eyes open. See everyone next stream.
stream.
Oh yeah, see you, Kimmy.
Go ahead, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to stop you.
Have a good night.
Now, tell me
Sleep
about your
well.
experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh well, now this is useful. You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that
we'll go do
competitive
one this time.
leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey,
Actually, I'm
I
gonna try and
forgot
go to the
I've got a
bathroom. Be right back.
prototype of the new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Nah, I'm good. I knew I could make it. I knew I had enough time. I just didn't feel like holding in my pee. I just wanted to go.
The one thing you've always desired. A game
But I knew I would make it back. I knew it was enough time.
Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will.
How
only
bad was the
create
Minecraft
for
load?
Greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to
hoping it
build a
wasn't that
house.
bad. Give house. This will go here. No. Here. And then... I should play Minecraft again on stream just so people can be like, wow, you do not know what you're doing. And I can be like, yeah, I don't know.
To finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own.
What does it need?
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience.
What does it
Please,
need? Ah,
step
yes,
inside and
diamond.
make yourself comfortable.
Diamond
Isn't it
everything.
grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be
I
better.
wish I could play with you so I could
Wait,
verbally call you
that's
dumb.
it.
I'm
We
glad you
must
can't.
rebuild it out
Because
of
it's not even my
diamond.
fault that I don't know the game. I
Diamond
just
everything.
didn't get
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
experience
Come along,
like everyone
Stanley.
else
We
did
have
for
to
the
go
most part.
mining. Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. You brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5.
Even the diamonds can
couldn't
save this one.
Okay, new game.
Alright, here we go. Fuck. We don't have to be too quick, Jabba. You just have to do it. That's it. There's no bomb rush or anything. You don't have to be too crazy about it. You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it.
Yes, I don't even know what
You
this
move
game
this
is,
fucking
but
cup.
I love it. You trapped in
Okay.
a glass box,
Failed
with
that.
no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
No fucking way! Okay, I got it. God damn, dude. First try should have happened. It was in there. That's fine. We got it the second time. So I can definitely get it first try still. I'm glad we got it, though. We figured it out.
Co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
So that's gonna be
decided
our,
to go
that's
to
the
meeting.
consistent strat now.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Radio stayed planted. Yeah, that was the good thing too. The radio stayed like still. That was incredible. If it didn't happen, oh, that would have been over. So I'm glad that it stayed.
Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door.
Felt butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business. You know, just has to get right back to
Stanley
work.
was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
All right.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy.
I'm blue and dabba dee.
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but what? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
Stanley walked through the red door. Blue!
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building the section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I'd written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles?
I see what
Steel
you
trees?
sugar.
Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far.
What's all this? What are you putting in chat?
Dark and a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game
Word
benefited
spells?
from allowing you more choices?
A robot unicorn would have made this game better.
I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Where would they
Now,
put that?
You didn't like it, but you didn't totally hate it either. You enjoyed it, perhaps is the correct term. It didn't cause you excruciating pain. Big steps we've made here today, Stanley. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Thanks, I got it for my birthday.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. The baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the
I don't
message
like
of the
that.
game only
Deal.
becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Who likes that fire ASMR?
Bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well,
You want it in your right ear?
ideas. I can't think of
You
a
want it in your
single
left
thing
ear?
that might improve the experience for you.
You want it in
I'm
both
not even
ears?
gonna try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
A lot of Raphael hate.
Seems like it'll work. Give it a shot.
Raphael can. Oh wow. Wowie zowie.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley.
Will it ever be enough?
Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here. No, here. And then
Let's see. What does it need? Ah, yes.
of course, and just to finish it all off,
Yes. Yes, Stanley.
I
Look at it.
look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. Ah, but you've only seen it from the outside. You've only got
Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go to mining. We have to go to mining. Okay. Almost had it right. Until I fucked it up.
My, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. You brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Alright, guys, let's see if we can get the stuck one. Are you ready?
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out.
God damn it.
Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is. Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually,
Bye, my
no,
precious
I think
radio.
that's plenty.
Yeah.
I really don't care much to see you stop.
Where am I going again? Oh, yeah. Now I know. There you go.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice.
This is the furthest I've seen you get in a run. Hey, now.
He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell
I've
him.
beaten it before.
He needs someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am.
It's just because I kept,
That is
you know,
what I
getting
need.
shitty luck and failing, so.
Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
You were finishing one? Really? Wow. Yeah, I wonder what was your guys' first experiences in here? Because you guys weren't, like, I'm glad to know yours was seeing me finish a run. Probably didn't finish one afterwards, but, you know. Damn. No short hallway, but that's
A
alright.
soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic. Perhaps but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Well, now you guys are gonna see me finish a run and, you know, get a PB.
Stanley didn't want to go back to the office.
And that's gonna make me
He
happy.
wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now, in order to get back, he needed to go
Now
from here. It's oh no.
long but
No,
awesome.
it's
Yeah,
to the
that's
right.
why I
I'm
saved them
sorry.
for the end of the run. They're like, because there's no skips or anything, so they're
Why would I have
guaranteed
ever said
just
it was to the right?
do them.
What was I thinking? It's clearly. Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Let's see. We went down right, left, down.
After this run, regardless if it's successful or not,
Okay.
I'm
okay,
leaving
yes.
because it's late.
I've
Oh yeah,
got
no.
that. This story is
Probably gonna end
absolutely
stream after this run
definitely
for sure.
necessary.
It's late. I don't mean to stream late. To be fair, it's just I get busy and stuff.
No,
Plus, during the weekdays, I have to kind of stream a bit later. But weekends, I try and stream earlier. I just, you know, I get a bit unlucky sometimes on that because I don't.
It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't want
I'm
to
always
set far off track.
on late. I go to sleep around 7 a.m. Oh, damn. You people are crazy. I don't know. It's nearly 3:20 a.m. for me. Yeah, it's 2:18 for me right now. So again, like I said before, Lay is 1 hour ahead of me. Obtuse is in his own world. Not that that's a bad thing, but still.
Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Well, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
This is where we find the line. It sure is. I know you've been waiting for that one. It'll work for me. If I want to call in sick, too bad. I'm already there the second I wake up. Oh. Alright, I get it. So wait, what do you do for a profession, Obtuse? Since, you know, I don't know much about that.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you.
Had to learn to deal with my own bullshit, therefore. Yeah. I mean, since you have to do work, you know, at home, you gotta do it.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Social media / professional psychonaut. Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, on your Twitch, it does say stuff about that, so makes sense. I actually never beat Psychonauts. I know that seems like jumping stuff. I'm a professional idiot, same. I mean, I'm trying to be. I mean, you know, I'd like to make this my profession, but, you know, probably, sadly, can't.
It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
I like bringing entertainment to people, but I might not be able to do it forever like I'd like to. Or at least, you know, for a living. Even though it's fun and actually, you know, something I enjoy.
The story. Here it comes.
For a straightforward society.
Not the story.
Jokes.
Okay, let's head back the
All the
other way
jokers.
and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay?
You
I
win,
was being weirded
speedrun.
out by whatever this place is. I don't care what
Yep.
might happen this time. I have.
We did it, we won. I wonder if that actually is something. That probably is. But I'm not too sure, so.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Here we go, by the way. Here's the
See?
line.
The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we embarking on a journey such
I don't know why I really like
destination
this
is
line, though.
inevitably conjured into
I don't know, it
being
just looks nice.
By the very manifestation of the nature of life itself. Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. But you know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music.
We barely even heard it.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Alright, we're getting closer to the end of this, at least. I think this is the last restart, if I remember correctly. This was it. Now we have, like, the final just walkthrough.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story?
As a traitor, yeah.
Mysterious.
I mean, the line, it doesn't really get to control itself, though,
Why don't
you know?
we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Or maybe it does, I don't know. The line's kind of a jerk.
Yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge.
So I'm being really quiet, I'm just kind of... just anxious to get this run over with. Let's just hoping, you know,
choice.
that we get a bit more, that we have a little bit of luck
From
still.
here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let's ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right
All
is
right.
the correct one. Another victory for logic.
Let me in there.
Come, Stanley. Our destiny awaits. Oh, hold up, what's
All right.
this?
Now we look at this chair.
Confusion.
Actually, we could do this.
You're telling me that's what this is? It's all
Sure.
one giant ending?
That looks nice. Got the
And
chair
we're
in the
supposed to
corner and
restart the
everything.
game eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, you consulted me. Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will one come first? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose it's that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree?
It is a story,
I'm
yes,
sure
I would
it's the
agree.
destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
6 seconds. Alright. Damn.
All of his
Alright,
co-workers were
that's
gone.
fine.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business,
What was that light? Would you put in
Stanley
chat?
took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley,
But alright, here we go.
we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Final two
I'm
endings.
not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me.
I'm asking for her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
There you go.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Alright!
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I
Tell
want
me
you to
all
come
about
in
your
and tell me
day.
all about your
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to
It
get
hurts,
you to see
narrator, it
something.
hurts.
Come inside.
You didn't
Let
need
me
to be
show
that
you
mean.
what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen his life. But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Wait. Oh shit. I pressed the wrong fucking button. Good job, dumbass.
Imagine that one day...
God, don't... Okay, I have to do this. Apparently, I can't fucking read white on white, which makes sense, but... I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I liked the way it looked, but it didn't help my eyes.
Excited him terribly.
Yeah, there you go. Now I can actually read.
He went further. He imagined that he
Dumbass.
came to two open
Me.
doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. Down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the
Stanley Parable.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be?
Alright, we're getting closer to me not having to press buttons, and me feeling fucking stressed about it. I hate this one. You gotta really be quick, and it's stressful.
The more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell you that in this
I didn't
world
like that.
he can never be
That's
anything
okay.
but an observer.
I can't wait
That as long as he
for me to
remains
finish.
here, he's slowly killing himself. He won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks
Art
choose
percent.
push a button. Do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand?
I don't know when
every
art
second
percent
he
is.
remains here? He's electing to
Not
kill
sure.
himself. How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Alright, this is the last button press at least. Alright.
There's a card.
Yeah, G for
Well, I
GG.
want him to. I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. Well, not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried it. See ya. Wow, did you see that? Did you see how much time we lost somehow? What in the fuck? Cool. Great.
I can't
Thanks for
wait to tell
giving me
this
that,
story to my
you know, short
coworkers
hallway
and
game.
thought, how amusing,
Fucking
no
me in the
problem.
ass.
Oh, well, we all just laugh and laugh at the time. I thought everyone had gone missing.
At least it was a normal one and not a long one, so.
When Stanley came to a set of two of
I'll
them,
take
this
it.
was not the correct way to the
I'll take your
meeting
tip, but I
room,
won't take the
and Stanley
shaft.
knew perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was
Alright.
okay.
Let's see what happens. I blame loading
But
screens.
we were
Yeah.
back to business.
I blame
Stanley
my
took the
shitty
first
laptop.
open door on the
But you know
planet.
what? You gotta work with what you have, so I can't expect, you know.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
everything
incredible
to work
it wasn't
out.
5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
I mean, again, it's game time that we're worried about, but I'm not sure how we're doing on game time. I think we're doing okay. I like to hope.
The fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting.
I obviously could have played better. There are a lot of sloppy moments, but still, I think we're okay at least.
Stop trying to make
We'll see what
every
happens.
decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. Oh, no,
Got it.
no, you can't. Did you just
Alright.
unplug the phone?
This is it. This is where we just wait.
To be a choice. How did you do that?
Let's
You
hope the
actually
game is nice.
chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see...
You spent 7 minutes
That's
loading.
not possible. I can't believe
How do you know that?
Had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real
Oh
person.
wait, from probably the past thing.
I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Hell yeah.
Choice. It's
Make
the
sure you
best
pay attention,
part of
everyone.
Being a real person.
That's important.
But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack.
My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should
Yay!
subside. At this time,
Insignificancy.
your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Alright.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not...
Oh my god, that scared the fuck out of me. My mouse stopped working. I was trying to look around and my mouse stopped working. Holy fuck. I hate when it does that shit. I don't know why it does that shit. Asshole. God. Anyway, that was fucking scary.
Almost there. You'll take the door
Awesome
on the
games.
left, back to the correct
God.
ending. The story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly
Okay,
as
whoa.
That means
That was a
choosing
big leap
responsibly,
right there.
always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Nah, we are. Time for epic.
It's ruined. I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. It's the answer. What do I do? Do I do? No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Oh boy, it do be shutting down. The narrator is dead.
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you run it into the ground. What? Did you think that would be funny? You just had to
Whoa.
see. Didn't I impress upon you how
You can't
important
win
it
without
was
the
to be
narrator.
like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to.
I guess you're not
He
wrong.
understands that if I say to do something,
But he's
there's
still
a damn
here,
good
so-
reason for it.
Yay.
That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child. Oh.
My story.
If you just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You
I
would have
slaughtered
destroyed
you.
it and been victorious.
It's worthless now, yeah. He's like,
I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard. Misbehave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
save your puggers for when we beat it, everyone.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping inside his
Yeah.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned
It's
discussing
worthless
the
now.
location of any human life.
I love that part.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it.
Now. That part.
Shocked? Stepping inside his
Yeah.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned
It's
discussing
worthless
the
now.
location of any human life.
I love that part.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability...
Well, that's that. Yeah, no more walking. It's up to the game now, and it's up to the, how everything went overall.
115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the
Scatman. But it's Scatman, but it's the narrator from the Stanley Parable. Someone should make that.
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Is there a problem? Oh, hello.
Sorry, is
Is
there
there?
a
Oh,
problem?
no.
You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step. Okay, fine. You're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty human.
This is interesting. It's 121. The time we need to be is 122:07. I don't know how close this is gonna be actually. I have no idea how close this is gonna be. I'm actually fucking scared.
His choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a
How do you
choice,
speak in
know.
red?
You
I
could
don't
have
know.
gone through the door on the right. You could have
Previous
done
record,
whatever the
yeah.
hell you
Well,
wanted
not
over
previous
there.
record. We still
Why
have to
did you
see.
come this way?
Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. Did we get it? Did we get world record? Hold on. Wait. When does timer stop when we see the end? Hold up. Hold up. World record! That's world record! We got it! World record! Oh, even though it's not by much, and I blame my shitty PC, but we did it! Oh, fuck, we got it. World record. We did it! We got it back! Woo! Oh, boy. Fuck yes. Even though my IRL time is terrible, that's not what's important. Oh boy. We did it. That's awesome. I stayed up for this. You did. I'm happy. Oh boy. Oh yeah, you're right. It is. It's sub 22. Yeah, we did it. All right. Thank you guys for watching. That's fucking awesome. We did it. I appreciate you guys hanging out to see that. That was good. So thank you guys for hanging out, and I will I'll see you guys in the next stream. Take care. It's a fucking game. I am blind, cannot see game. There it is, found it. Okay. My mom was at the store getting me games without my knowledge. Oh. That's cool. Okay. We're gonna try some.
I think that we... No, maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin initial evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Dude, yeah, no,
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many of these in like little Unity projects where I'm like, ah, shit, my skybox ran out. All right, well.
Apparently, this
was
space
there
station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been.
This
able
is
to
not
discern,
also
so
supposed to
in
be
the
a
interest of
Counter-Strike
time,
mod,
I'm
is
just
it?
gonna skip you on past it.
I don't know. Oh.
I like it that he just skipped us past the labyrinth. That's pretty fucking good.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam.
All right.
It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
I mean, yeah, like it's like not even an issue. Here I go, diving in, boom.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Here I go. Oh.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs.
All right.
So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
Let me tell you a little bit about how I'm feeling because you know,
Yes.
I've talked about this before. I generally dislike, especially in the prevalence in social media, the seeming death of sincerity. Like this whole it's whatever. Oh my god, that's so stupid. That's so bad. I cherish so much how sincere this is. And the thing is that it's really easy to make fun of sincerity. It's really easy to... Excuse me. I'm drinking nothing but carbonated water, so we're going to be very burpy. Yeah, I mean, like, making fun of sincerity is actually so easy because if you're always insincere, if you're always cynical and saying lull and keck W or whatever the Pog Champ and meme Bible thumpers in the Twitch chat do these days, it's so easy to just deride and poke at things when you don't have an identity. Because an identity, in a lot of ways, comes from sincerity. It comes from you going, God, you know what? I love this thing. I care so much about this thing. By the way, chat, thanks so much for helping me out. You guys are the complete embodiment of exactly what I was talking about. Big hearts.
Perfect.
But I mean, like, someone took the time to assemble a whole bunch of incomplete, nonsense-ish sort of games just to be able to talk about it sincerely. That's kind of fucking great, right? And is this easy to make fun of? It's one of the easiest things I've ever seen to make fun of in my entire life. In fact, there's part of me that just wants so badly to do nothing but just be like poke fun at things. But
well,
I don't think that's because it's stupid or bad.
What you described is certainly the conceit of the work. That's certainly what we're told.
I mean, I think like there's a complicating factor where knowing Davey, and this is not relying on personal knowledge. This game, when it was released as a game by Davey Wreden, creator of Stanley Parable. And so everybody who goes into this game has that context. And so I think that like I have extremely low confidence that Coda is a real person. I would bet pretty strongly that there is no Coda. That Coda is an artifact that Dave is using in order to talk about things that Davey wants to talk about, which I think he is genuinely interested in and are genuinely interesting. And so I think there's a level of sincerity in his intent, but I think he is using artifice in order to construct a reality in which he can sort of share some sincere thoughts. And then I think some of these thoughts are less sincere than others, that he is using deliberately for effect in order to create the kind of experience that he wants the player to have. But I think those are mixed in pretty well with some things that are genuinely sincere.
So now how do you feel, Sean?
Like, I'm interested. I like media more than anything that is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I can't move.
I'm down with this.
Game, you can only walk backwards.
You narrator.
Yeah, it's
Just
good.
keep going. Just finish
The
goddamn
voiceover
game.
is good now. It's turned into acting, and it's good acting.
But I'm going to make this argument that it's always been acting, and it's always been good acting. Right? Like,
yeah, I suppose.
In the same way that the early narrator Davey,
and he's gone. He's gone. He's dead.
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
there might have been something, more rooms or something. I don't know. I can't
Yeah,
tell.
but you were saying at the start, Sean, you were saying that, like, oh, there's more gameplay. Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh no, Shangwi says every X ever. Zanji's
good person were complete in some way that I never was. I want out of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay. I want to know whatever it is. Please. is, what if I think I agree with myself again? Is because that's...
But it's like to the point of repetition in a way that is like not pleasant. Like, it's sort of interesting, but it's just like talk. Like, that is very much a...
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work.
On my screen.
It's just...
Oh wait, is it getting worse for you too, Sean?
Yeah, it is. Did the subtitles briefly stop making sense, or
it must be other Sean's fault?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like,
if someone had
sometimes my
told me
video
ahead of
push to
time
you
that he
sucks.
just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
I would have told so many people that he was depressed. That's hilarious. Maybe I wouldn't have become an accidental creepster.
So, I really enjoy the symmetry of, at the beginning of the game...
The disease is telling me to stop. Don't show me
I don't want to talk over the fucking narrator.
Yeah, it's
just
good.
Keep going. Just finish
the voiceover game. Is good now. It's turned into acting, and it's good acting.
But I'm going to make this argument that it's always been acting, and it's always been good acting. Right? Like,
yeah, I suppose.
In the same way that the early narrator Davey...
And he's gone. He's gone. He's dead. Did I miss something?
There might have been something, more rooms or something. I don't know. I can't tell.
But you were saying at the start, Sean, you were saying that, like, at the start the narrator, and then it got cut off.
So, I see. Sorry. So, like, in the same way that Davey has constructed this false object in order to have a thing to talk about, to sort of talk over, I feel like he's... in a very parallel move, created this false character, like, created the character of early narrator Davey in order to have something to have an emotional reaction to. And that character is, like, way over the top and, like, too expansive in his explanation of everything. So that when we get to the point where we can see things that Davey the narrator doesn't see, things about like what he's done wrong and why he's not a good person and what his failures are, like, we have something to push that against.
Like,
yeah,
I actually cannot conceive of
makes
what
sense.
that would be like.
It's not bad. It's funny that he's wrestling in these moments stuff that I've wrestled with and eventually figured out.
Right.
So it's kind of like, just wait until you're 35.
Yeah, you'll get there. We all get there.
You'll get there.
You'll get there, man. Let me tell you.
Figure it out.
Yeah, no, I want to, like, put my hand on the person's shoulder and be like, yeah, no, I mean, shit happens. No, it's fine. It's like not a big deal. You'll get over it. It'll be fine.
Sean, does that mean that you're the person in the phone booth calling Davey in the prison?
Sorry,
yeah.
I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this.
Sucked into the metaphor.
I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for.
A lot of work to do.
Just gonna... Okay.
Narrators.
Oh.
What does it say?
Oh, no, this is just someone adding me to my friends list. I'll block
Oh,
the
it's
person
not
later.
like achievement unlocked.
No, I thought it was an achievement. It was just some guy who was watching. Just like, oh, an add on Steam. This seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, I know anytime there's something to walk through that's doorway-like, I walk through it.
Yeah.
Does this mean that I
been trained by racing games?
Does this mean that I disliked pretentious Davey Reedon because he was a pretentious character?
I mean, I think that to some extent, yeah. I think he's
got played. I might have got played.
I mean, only I guess if you want to think about it that way, you can. But but I think that like, yeah, he's clearly designed to be a pretentious character.
Yeah. I'm liking this better. I gotta say, I'm liking it better. I think I'm on team.
Playthrough?
I'm on team beginner's guide on this playthrough. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Better.
I did not think that we were gonna.
Yeah.
That there were conversions in this holy war.
I think it's good. It's dangerous because it's like putting something out there that it's Rick and Morty dangerous, where it's the real point is that Rick shouldn't be idolized, but guess what? We're all gonna idolize Rick.
Right. Right. Yeah. Maybe nobody should try to be Davy Reedon.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. There's chicanery to it. There's definitely it's definitely it's a magic trick. It's an illusion.
Yes.
Yeah, and some people
but
really
in
don't
the
like
way
magicians,
that my
that's
favorite
fine.
games are magic tricks. Like I appreciate that very much about this.
Yep.
Do you think? Oh, fuck. Yes.
Oh. We do it.
Good ending. And we're gonna float up, right? I'm just gonna float up in space.
Oh god, of course we are.
Is
Beyond the mind's eye.
Oh my god.
This looks really cool on my screen share right now because, like, Sean Plott, your face is literally like you look like a simulacrum person.
Well, I mean, my encoder's got a lot to upload.
As this recedes into the horizon, it also melts, which I think is the name of the book.
Wow, I can't wait for the cold open to end.
Yeah,
and that's just like the beginner's guide.
There's good chat going on too.
Oh yeah. Now you might struggle to see it with the encoding to you, but there's actually a circle that's shrinking towards the center of the maze, and there's 100 other players in it.
They're all fish.
Whoa, who's R?
Made up. It's a fictional person.
Made up. God damn it.
That's a real person he knew between 2009 2011 named Rhoda.
Rhoda. ANG8811 says fade into Skyrim. In the arms of the angel. Alright, it's good. Not bad.
Turn it down.
I mean, it's terrible for most of it.
Right, sure.
Then it says, it's not what it seemed. It's not terrible. If you don't catch that part.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, then you're in trouble.
I mean, there's a big element of that I think that people who have not, like, created and put their work out there publicly may not have, like, personally experienced. Because I can, like, tell you the number of people over the course of my entire career, like, the ones at the start are certainly the most entertaining ones, who just want to have strong ownership over what you do. Like, I mean, I can't even tell you how easy it is to joke with streamer buddies about, like, don't you love it when someone comes up and goes, hey, I have a great idea for a whole bunch of work that you could do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Sean,
true. That's always a good one.
You learned Dota. I have a great idea. Why don't you do
Sam and Sam.
$36,000 words. Was the length of the essay that taught me what writing about games could be. 36,000 words is roughly 115 pages, or at least it is when formatted into GameFAQs.com's characteristically bare presentation. And it was in that raw text file that I read Peter Elliott's behemoth work, Talking Eco, an annotation. As a kid, I was the prototypical lurker on GameFAQs' notoriously rambunctious forums. It was the first place I learned about the concept of unbalanced characters, the first place I heard accusations of playing a game the wrong way, the first place I experienced that feeling of, I thought these people liked this game, why do they talk about it like they hate it so much? But among the gamer-fueled fires of the mid-aughts, there were glimmers of brilliance. GameFAQs offered players the ability to write walkthroughs, and left the definition of a walkthrough exceedingly vague. What exactly the writer chose to walk us through was up to them. It's where, for example, I first ran across the Secret Seekers and their quixotic quest. It's where I read Joseph Christopher's fantastically weird Crowd Pleasers Guide to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which included suggestions on how to roleplay as different kinds of arcade legends.
The Professional, wear the typical office worker type of attire, formally introduce yourself as someone who will either head an MVC2 official strategy guide, an MVC2 website, or a researcher on the psychological effects and/or epileptic tendencies of prolonged exposure to video games. Ask some personal info from your opponent, like family life, working life, love life, etc.
And, just beginning my lifelong affair with the games of Fumito Ueda, it's where I clicked on a file simply called Eco Plot Story Guide, and found myself on the first of Peter Elliott's 100-plus page thesis. I will be the first to say that quantity of writing has very little relation to quality. Unless you're Noah Caldwell-Gervais, it's exceptionally difficult to write tens of thousands of words on a video game and have it all be purposeful and on topic. My scripts, for example, are usually 8 to 10 pages. More than that, and I start to wander. But this essay was published in 2004, far before I ever thought about the optimal length of essay, and what really captured my imagination wasn't simply the length, but the topic. 100 pages on sheer gameplay theory was easy. I read knife-only walkthroughs of Resident Evil 4 that were twice that length. So too was writing that dealt with solving a plot. In my Secret Seekers video, I mentioned an FAQ that questioned everything from the size of Wander's horse to the genetic lineage of Mono and her baby. These were essentially the forerunners to the Ending Explained videos that now make up the GDP of a small country on YouTube. Elliot's writing wasn't either of these. Really, it couldn't have been. Eco is a powerfully antithetical work to these kinds of analysis. It is radically simple, with basic controls, elementary combat, and all of a paragraph of spoken dialogue. There's no min-maxed gameplay ideal of Eco and little to grab onto in the realm of wild theories. Instead, Elliot latches onto and attempts to explain the true core of the game. Why do you feel so goddamn much while you play it? It's staggering to me that 12 years after I last read it, I still remember ideas from Elliot's essay incredibly clearly.
People erect buildings in order to domesticate the environment, to make a domain of comfort and convenience out of an uncomfortable, inconvenient wilderness. But this castle almost seems to exist to make life miserable. To move through the castle, the children must outwit it, must meet and prevail against every challenge this dangerous maze throws at them. But wait a moment here. Outwitting the castles almost sounds as if we were treating it as a person. In fact, it very much sounds like the castle has assumed an adversarial role against the children. And it has.
I mean, is this not me? Half of my dang library of work is talking about the ideal of hostile architecture, and Elliot just throws it out in chapter 5? Equally entrancing was the way he linked Eco with other works, all classics, all undeniably in the canon. Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher, Stoker's Dracula, even Citizen Kane for Pete's sake. And it wasn't the gaming inferiority complex style comparison, insisting that Eco was just as much art as any of those works. Instead, that idea is implicit. As impossible as it sounds, his linking Eco's conclusion to Citizen Kane's is unpretentious. In his writing, they are simply two artistic works with thematic parallels. Again, if you're familiar with my work, the influence should be clear. But most of all, what connected me to Elliot's essay was his refusal to act as some detached observer. In a powerful rejection of the kids actually die at the end reading of the finale of Eco, he invokes not only the thematic and narrative weight lost in this interpretation, but also his own faith. He talks about how false this understanding of an afterlife rings based on what he understands and believes, and while I'm certainly not a Christian, nor do I spend a lot of time thinking about afterlives, Elliot's passion is enormously compelling. He understands that the way everyone interprets art is a conversation between the piece and his own lived experience. Elliot doesn't pretend that he was born in a test tube and as such can objectively assess its value. His reading of Eco makes him vulnerable, and that was remarkable to me. It still is. A couple months ago, I had the pleasure of being interviewed for Heavy Eye's video, How We Talk About Games. It's a look back at the critical games discussion that had shaped his, and many other video makers' style. It's what got me thinking about Elliot's piece again in the first place. However, neither I nor Heavy Eyed actually get the best line in the video. That went to another voice who you might be familiar with, Rasputin.
I think for a while, there were a lot of people trying to find that thing under the stone that no one had talked about, right? For any given game. What that actually is perspective.
But still, the vast majority of words I've read about games in my life can probably be sorted into two categories: previews and reviews. What this game might be like, and what this game is like. I've written a couple previews in my life. It is not a flexible format. Meaningful criticism of the game, positive or negative, comes off as punching down. You're playing an incomplete project, and besides, things could change before release. What could you understand by seeing 4 minutes of a movie or 2 square inches of a photograph? So instead, it comes down to the basest form of interaction. Do the guns feel good? Yes, no. A review, of course, has the chance to do much more. A full look at the game, a more holistic understanding, even if that full look has to be exhaustively typed out after playing the game for many sleepless nights. Fantastically written reviews come out every day. Check out Julie Muncie's review of The Last of Us 2, for example, an incisive look at the game's themes made even more impressive by the fact that reviewers literally weren't allowed to talk about half of it. But reviews, especially when coming from an outlet with a wide audience, run into the same fundamental problem as previews. By and large, the reason we go to reviews is to tell us whether to buy the game or not. And boy, is this limiting. I'm going to give you an example of a review that would not help me decide if I wanted to buy your game or not. It's a review of the iOS game Infinity Blade, written by J. Nicholas Geist in 2011. It starts like this.
Infinity Blade is a game about iteration, about retreading old ground, about the small changes that surface across endless repetitions.
I didn't read this review when it was originally published, nor when I was trying to decide if I should purchase Infinity Blade. Up until the point that I read this, I hadn't thought about the game in years. I found this piece of writing because I saw someone else mention a review that was broken due to JavaScript updates, and I was too curious to ignore it. Geist describes the central conceit of the game: challenging the God King, dying, and then the next generation taking up your sword. It's a short review, just over a dozen sentences, but at the bottom of the page, there's a do. It's showing that art in context and in conversation with the world around it. Advocates for so-called objective games criticism often balk at the idea of bringing external context to a review. Judging a game on its own merits, the argument goes, cannot coexist with the acknowledgement of the world outside its virtual walls. Nothing could be further from the truth. The game was not written, designed, nor programmed in a vacuum. It will not be played in one. To restrict yourself to the game's text and text alone, to refuse to interact with the world that it was molded, formed, and consumed in, that is what limits us. Look, I get it. Sometimes you just want to know if the guns feel better in Doom Eternal, or if they feel worse. You want to know if the larger arenas make the combat flow better, or if they stilt it. You want to know if you'll get $60 of enjoyment out of your time, or if you'll wish you bought Florence for 20 of your best friends instead. Those kind of reviews will still be around. I promise. But here's what I want to try and convince you of. You know that feeling when you finish Doom Eternal and a sweet guitar shreds over the end credits and you feel empty? Like you had a good time the entire way through, there wasn't much you'd change, and yet there's still that gnawing voice in the back of your head that says, yeah, what now? What was the point of all this? Great criticism is the answer to that voice. Understanding a piece of art, not as a simple solitary object, but as part of our world, makes everything feel like it means something, no matter how grand or tiny. This may sound like I'm giving games undue prestige. I'm not. Most games are silly, dumb, fleeting. This is about giving to yourself. I lost countless hours to Infinity Blade, played on my iPod Touch under the desk in Algebra 2. I enjoyed them all. I thought critically about none. Geist's review retroactively changed the way those hours exist in my memory. Those endless generations fit into a larger narrative. Those lost hours are, in a way, found again. In an essay titled Games Criticism is a Kindness, Heather Alexandra writes,
Criticism understands that most of the games we play and movies that we watch are not world-shaking. They're not toppling regimes, redefining our understanding of art, or creating spiritual movements. It cares if a thing is good or bad or important, only insofar as it understands what it is doing to earn those qualities. It treats games seriously irrespective of those qualities. It does so knowing the inherent fragility of the medium and the limited impact of most works. It highlights the beautiful, rejects the banal, and does so explicitly from a position of kindness. The dumpster diver returns from the cultural heap and finds that one man's trash really is another man's treasure. Sometimes it becomes their treasure. It becomes the thing that changes them forever.
The practical forms of writing about games, the airy previews and workmanlike reviews, serve a role. They serve it well. And after you've decided to spend your money, after you roll credits on the game they convinced you to buy, they're gone, vanished into that same emptiness that exists within you as the credits roll. Deciding to buy and play a game should be the beginning of your critical conversation with it, not the end. Good writing will extend that conversation. It seems like every few months we have the same conversation about game reviews. Should they factor hour count into their assessment? Is a 100-hour game inherently better for the money than a 2-hour one because you get this much entertainment per dollar? I, as expected, don't like this idea. I don't judge my favorite TV shows on number of episodes, my favorite songs on their runtime. While I understand the desire to stretch one's money as far as possible, this equation just seems like another way to throw the dial all the way towards games as product. I have an alternative proposition, although even more impossible to implement. What is the hour count that a game lives in your memory? How often do you think of it, reference it, dream about it? With the first measure, the worth of Davey Wreden's The Beginner's Guide isn't particularly high. A game that lasts an hour and a half and costs $10 has a utility of basically $6 an hour, which isn't great. But if that utility includes every time I've thought about The Beginner's Guide, every time it's influenced my writing, every time I've closed my eyes and seen that tower, its worth is incalculable. Sometimes you will simply have that experience with a game. You encounter it, connect almost spiritually, emerge enlightened. But often, at least for me, lending a work of art part of your brain to live in only happens because of a brilliant piece of writing. Eco's Castle has occupied my subconscious for over a decade because of how Eliot illuminated its haunting beauty. More recently, Carolyn Petit's piece Broken People, Broken Worlds on, again, The Last of Us 2 will likely function the same way. I came out of that game tired, angry, confused, but when I read her musings on games as a dream space, I feel a little more settled. Her writing helps me understand where my own thoughts may lie years from now. Yusuf Cole's essay, White Supremacy, Black Liberation, and the Power Dynamics of Gun Violence, functions similarly, though less cerebral and more historical. It grounds the character relationships of Mafia 3 in an essential conversation about power dynamics, and it does so powerfully that it essentially has reframed the entire way I view the game, and makes it feel more essential with each passing day. It's a vanishingly rare game that I feel like I get right away. But reading more people's expression of their experiences, their analysis and conclusions, is more than just a shortcut to understanding. A good piece of writing functions as a guide, showing you a path to walk by which you might come to your own destination with the game. But you can keep going. Commodity isn't the end of the conversation with a piece of art, and analysis isn't the end-all be-all of writing about it. Both of these are just fragments of infinite potential when it comes to this kind of work, And what excites me with games writing is we're just starting to use that potential. The best piece of writing that's sorta about video games I've ever read is a short story published December 30th of last year in The New Yorker.
Sam and Sam.
Wow-wee. And all those stars, if you look out in the sky, is a firework display like you see on the 4th of July, which is a great occasion for celebration. The universe is a celebration. This is a fireworks show to celebrate that existence is. Wow-wee. And then they say, but however, you can't, there's no point just in sustaining bliss. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. Or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would, naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Where something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? And then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, of playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. The first thing he says to himself is, man, get lost. Because he gives himself away. The nature of love is self-abandonment, not clinging to oneself. Throwing yourself out, as in, for example, in basketball, you're always getting rid of the ball. You say to the other fellow, have a ball. See? And that keeps things moving. That's the nature of life. So in this idea, then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality. Not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that. Only you're pretending you're not. And it's perfectly okay to pretend you're not. Come off it. Shiva, I recognize you. When you come to my door and you say, I'm so-and-so, I say, ha ha, what a funny way God has come on today. So that eventually, there are all sorts of tricks, of course, that gurus play. They say, well, we're going to put you through the mill. And the reason they do that is simply that you won't wake up until you feel you've paid a price for it. In other words, the sense of guilt that one has, or the sense of anxiety, is simply the way one experiences keeping the game of disguise going on. You see that? Supposing you say, I feel guilty. Christianity makes you feel guilty for existing. That somehow, the very fact that you exist is an affront. You are a fallen human being. I remember as a child when we went to the services of the church on Good Friday, they gave us each a colored postcard with Jesus crucified on it. And it said underneath, this have I done for thee, what doest thou for me? You know, you felt awful. You nailed that man to the cross. Because you eat steak, you have crucified Christ. Because you killed the bull. After all, you depend on it. Mithra. It's the same mystery. And what are you going to do about that? This have I done for thee, what doest thou for me? You feel awful that you just exist at all. But that sense of guilt is the veil across the sanctuary. Don't you dare come in. In order to, in all mysteries, when you're going to be initiated, with somebody saying, don't you come in. You've got to fulfill this requirement, this requirement, this requirement, this requirement. Then we'll let you in. And so you go through the mill. Why? Because this is, you're saying to yourself, I won't wake up until I feel I deserve it. I won't wake up until I've made it difficult for me to wake up. So I invent for myself an elaborate system of delaying my waking up. I put myself through this test and that test, and when I feel it's been sufficiently arduous, then I may at last admit to myself who I really am, and draw aside the veil, and realize that after all, when all is said and done, I am that I am, which is the name of God. And when it comes to it, that's really rather funny. They say in Zen, when you attain Satori, nothing is left to you at that moment but to have a good laugh. But naturally, all masters, Zen masters, yoga masters, every kind of master, puts up a barrier and says to you,